we are back from me fixing up my mic. Hopefully the audio quality will be good throughout this. Alright, so is everyone ready, or do we have any questions about the plot before we continue?
Thumbs up.
I think we're good.
Will there be a Q&A at the end?
Yes, there will be a Q&A at the end. However, any Qs posed by the comments section in this YouTube video will not be answered, at least not in a timely fashion, if ever at all.
Hold on.
I will answer them personally in 15 years.
Wait, what was that, Seb?
I will answer them personally in 15 years.
I don't know if you want to promise
on each
that.
of our round-the-clock games.
I never said I'd promise them.
Oh, okay. Alright.
So you'll answer when I'm in my 40s. Got it.
But yeah, as we're seeing here, Cameron is seeing arches that will help guide their way out. Actually, yeah, here, I'm gonna go back one last one. So Hannah, whenever you're ready.
Devin starts to tentatively make his way forward, and just as Cameron is realizing how long this might actually take, possibly too long if there is internal bleeding, his vision flickers.
I just seriously love the little transitions they do in this game. It's so beautiful.
Cameron stares at it, then looks at Devin, wincing at the bear's bloodied and bruised face. But Devin doesn't react to the light, like Cameron is the only one seeing it. But a shroom trip can't emit light, no matter how hard you're tripping.
I think I can see where to go. Just walk straight.
How?
Cameron starts to shake his head, then stops as his neck sends a pang of fiery pain down his back.
I don't know, but I can see. Let's get out of here. Please.
Cameron tries hard not to look at Ryan's crumpled form against the sidewall of the hollow, his wide open eyes glinting from the gentle glow.
Oh, okay. Just tell me where, okay?
And sure enough, as they leave, arch after arch appears, and Cameron is confident they'll lead to the exit. These arches had tortured his mother, but this feels like his mother somehow. As they move, they both hear rustling sounds far behind them in the mines, but Ryan is definitely dead, or at least had been when they left. So they keep moving, trying to keep quiet. Then, within an hour, real light.
Daylight.
Devin looks down at Cameron and winces just like Cameron did when he saw Devin's face.
God, honey. I'm gonna get you help. I'm gonna get better, okay?
But what about you? Do you feel okay?
Cameron's voice is weaker than it was earlier, and Cameron feels Devin quicken his pace.
I'm fine.
Devin says it sternly, setting his jaw, and Cameron stays quiet.
Cameron. I'm sorry.
And that's the last time you're saying that to me, okay? I don't blame you for anything. I'm just so glad I met you.
He listens to the bear's heartbeat, steady for most of the journey, but getting faster as they get closer to the exit.
I think I hear a helicopter. Maybe a megaphone? Shit, did people come for us?
The shotgun blew out my hearing, so I'm not really sure.
His trip is mostly over, yet these visions are so vivid. Cameron stares at this new arch, and something about it feels different.
Oh. Mom, I found it.
Huh?
Her arch.
You're seeing arches?
You know how something can happen so impactful it splits your life in two? Like you see life as before, and after that moment, it can be good or bad.
Devin hesitates, like he wants an answer to the question he just asked, but he lets it go for now.
Of course.
I think me and you is the good divide in my life. I think what happened here and what's going to happen after, I think it's the bad divide.
It had always been his mother's death, and it still is. A divide. But this time, Cameron realizes he's been deeply affected mentally, and it's not something he can just recover from. Something's truly wrong with him. That's been the case for a long time, but now, after this, something's been pushed over the edge. So, another divide.
I think we're gonna be okay, Cameron.
Devin, whatever happens after this, I love you, and I'm so happy I met you.
Come on. You don't have to say that part. You made it, okay? It's just a fork in the road.
Cameron gasps.
Oh, Devin, Artie is alive. He went to get his help, I think. I hope.
What? How?
I don't know. He got shot, but he got away. Brian was pissed. He's hurt, but I think he made it.
Oh, that's...
Devin's lips tremble, and his face twists up slightly as he tries not to cry, but it's out of incredible relief and happiness. Cameron doesn't tell him how bits of Artie are missing, or that he can't sense him anymore, both because of his waning powers and because Artie is too far away. At least that's what he hopes. Cameron stares up at the arch, looking both beautiful and terrible at the same time. Raincoat Monster stands to the side as they pass, and this time, Cameron does think it's his old hallucination. Cardboard and unmoving, just like he's always been. But something about all of this, the way he's seeing things, something has changed. It's not his psychic abilities, because now it's subtle and hardly noticeable again. No, something else happened, and his mind feels wrong. Looking forward is no longer clear, but as Cameron uses the last of the psilocybin in his system to peer into their future, he becomes afraid by what he sees. So he just turns his muzzle slightly to Devin.
Cameron, you're going to make it.
Based on what he saw, Cameron isn't sure. Devin will stay. He was able to see that much. But should he? More than anything, they both want to stay together. But if Cameron becomes a burden to Devin, he doesn't know how he can stay. He just hopes that Devin can still love him after this terrible change, and he hopes he can fight it, whatever it is. So Cameron leans his head against Devin's shoulder, smiling in a mostly happy, but in a bittersweet way.
Alright.
Alright. Now let's get the hell out of here.
The terrible change comes almost exactly 3 weeks later. Cameron had been feeling strange ever since they got back home, like he wasn't quite himself. After a flurry of hospital visits, police interviews, and even harassment from the media, things had become strangely quiet. He's a broken road. Brian Dubois was a serial killer with a victim count in the double digits, with all of the murders taking place over the course of nearly 4 decades. That would get national attention, of course, especially since Brian appeared to be involved in the high-profile disappearance of a college freshman last year. The body cam footage of their dramatic rescue from the mines even made the rounds on social media. For about 2 days. At the same time, a pandemic was
Because
picking
it
up
is
steam.
2020.
Yep. At the same time, a pandemic was picking up steam, and media attention focused there instead.
Yeah, like I pointed out multiple times, the story's been taking place in late February, early March of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Right when...
Although 2 days on social media is like more than most things, so...
Yes, but I would say for like a national, like high-profile serial killer and like, oh, footage of like the victims being rescued, I feel like that would have like been shared on social media a little bit longer had the pandemic not like wiped that off of like the internet.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Like I
fair.
feel like that one would last like 5 days or something.
Fair enough, yeah.
It's not a hopeful number in my opinion, but hey.
Cameron didn't mind. That lack of attention made his recovery much easier. His burst liver and severely damaged kidney had left him needing surgery. The hospital did what they could for his elbow, and his doctors were hopeful that with a lot of physical therapy, he could at least use it for basic necessities. While it did suck to maybe never be able to bend his elbow correctly or without pain, what really devastated Cameron was the weakness and near maddening tingling in his pinky and ring finger. So for now, despite him being eager to get back to it, guitar was an absolute no. For now. But, would this be Cameron, or?
So there's actually a new voice that we'll need. And Seb, would you like to be this voice?
Is it a voice that I'm familiar with?
No, this is a very new character, if you even want to call it a character.
Okay.
I just need you, when you're reading these lines, to be as malicious as you can be.
Okay. But what about forever?
On top of that, Cameron had been trying to banish that damn voice from his head. No, the negative thoughts from his head, right? Just a flashback. One of the shitty leftovers from his shroom trip. Either way, all he could do was try to ignore it, despite it making itself known at least once a day.
Cameron. Cameron, something's wrong.
But things continued to feel strange. It didn't seem to be related to his ESP, because he could easily tell when that was happening. Ever since the shroom trip, a haze of psychic ability lingered around him, allowing him to capture thoughts and feelings seemingly at random. Downloading is what some people like him like to call it. He didn't have much control, though. Sometimes he wasn't even able to tell if the download he was receiving was from the living or the dead. Cameron even began to try and hone his abilities and experiment with just how much he could do. What he quickly figured out was that without some sort of illicit substance, his clairvoyance lacked a great deal of fuel that had powered his abilities in Echo. That would make it easier, and so would being in an active location like Echo, of course. Echo is one of those locations, though, obviously, but there are so many others.
Still me?
Nope, this is Behana still. I think.
Okay,
Line quotations.
okay. He's a desert lake. Every now and then, Cameron would find himself pausing, like at the back door of Devon's house, as a chill would run down his spine. That feeling always meant an echo was attached to something, somewhere nearby. That's what Cameron called the beings. Not exactly intelligent, or even living, but entities that interacted with and usually threatened the living. In that particular case, it emanated from under the back porch. When he told Devon about it, the bear knew immediately what Cameron was talking about.
Oh yeah. I'd hear something moving under there all the time, like a person crawling around. Even Dad says he saw red eyes under there once.
Being more sensitive doesn't exactly answer questions, though. Like, why is it there? Where did it come from? What the hell is it? All he knows is that it's not a person, and it never was a person. Because they're all demons. And while Cameron had seen that old spark of interest in Devon's eyes, he had told Cameron to just ignore it and focus on their visit for now. Devon just wanted everything to go away quietly, like it never happened. That included Cameron's abilities. That was at the end of the second week, and over the course of his life, Cameron would look back on that visit as one of the last times he was truly himself. He has a trailer home in the Southwest. By the third week, Cameron was recovering at a remarkable rate, and so Devon began to pay Artie more visits and phone calls. Arturo's improvement was also rapid, but Cameron was left feeling a little sad that Artie never asked to talk to him, and would only ask Devon how the coyote was holding up. It made sense, he would tell himself. Devon and Artie go back further than even Devon and himself did. Sure, something had felt off, but considering the circumstances, nothing was normal at that time. But as the third week progressed, what had been bubbling below the surface made itself fully known. The only thing that seemed to be getting back to normal were his dreams. Sometimes he'd wake up whimpering or crying, think he was back in Echo. Devon had it worse, waking up in a howling panic, yelling about guns, chains, and death. Those were the times when Cameron did his best to give comfort and support, at least as best as his patched up and sore body could manage. But now, with some time between him and what happened, Cameron feels like a part of him is missing, like he's not fully present. It's like the pieces of him litter the town of his trauma. It felt like he was still there, in a way, and when that feeling really started to set in, that's when it happened. A small pressure in his right ear started to develop. It was something that he was sure had to do with the hearing loss he'd experienced from the shotgun blast. It was irritating, and it felt bizarre. They had set up another appointment with Cameron's audiologist a few weeks from then. The hearing loss was likely permanent, but then something began to replace it. Right in the middle of the afternoon.